I know Vlad has got some questions, so let me get my questions in first. I think that's interesting, Shane. I guess kind of two buckets of questions, if you will. First, do you remember how many people it would have taken if it was a manual process versus kind of the process that you went to? Is it like four people? Is it like six people worth of labor that is probably very difficult to find and would be at least semi-skilled? Or
Right.
do you remember what those numbers looked like in the process?
Yeah, this would have been 4 people.
Okay, absolutely. And then I guess kind of second question is when I think of this semi-automated process as you're describing, I think it's probably easier to accept because you're removing some of those really difficult positions and
Mhm.
it's not fully automated, so it probably significantly reduces the cost. Is that kind of where you guys have gotten to the semi-automated process? And is that why you guys are finding a bunch of success going through the semi-automated state?
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a threshold there, right, where the cost isn't you don't get that return, right? So the
Yep.
cost is greater than the benefit you receive back. So a lot of our customers look at ROIs, like return on investments. So they have some are different, but they have numbers they want to achieve for this to be successful. So a lot of times when we come to a customer, their first thing is they just want to automate the whole thing because that's what they first usually want. But once we start breaking it down and look at it, the cost, it's not that automation can't do the whole thing fully automated, but it's just the cost prohibits that. And then once we start talking it over, it does make sense because there may be other areas in the facility that an operator, for example, in this case was the forklift driver, they're not required to be there all the time at this robot cell. They can do something else. So they like that idea too, where even though there's still some manual intervention, it wasn't required to have personnel there throughout the whole process. And another thing that this actually turned into that was pretty nice is what we call sometimes you hear lights out automation.
Mhm.
Basically, what it is that they found what they could do was load up a large pallet of the parts on the end of a first shift, let's say, and then they allow the robot to run while really minimal people are there. So maybe there's just like a skeleton crew, maybe of people in the facility, but not like normally would have production. And they're still able to produce these parts. So that way the robot can run until basically that pallet's done. And then they come in the next morning, they can remove that finished pallet and then just start over again, add in the new one. So that helped there as well, because not only did they get a benefit from the manpower that was required, but they also were able to run production and produce more parts within one day.